Devin,
Yeah,
how's it going, man?
it's going really well.
Good. It's been fun to be in touch since you've been home. I know you've had some challenges, but um, thanks for being part of the podcast. The reason that we've done this is to try to help people that are out there in trouble and have really no idea, one, where to go, and number two, if healing's even possible. So, for everybody else out there, I've selected some of the people that I feel like represented recovery the best, even though it's not necessarily pretty. I don't if it's too easy and too slick, that makes me nervous. If it's too dark, that makes me nervous. But a regular old person that has challenges and that fights their brains out and that comes out on the other end and does well, like that's I'm just terribly interested in that because that usually lasts a lifetime. So that's why I asked Devin if he wouldn't mind being on the podcast. And so Devin, you're on Miracle Healings and you have been a bridge guest. So I'm going to let you do most of the talking, but just kind of tell everybody where this all started. When did it start getting dark and what was going on?
Yeah, so up before I came to the bridge or whatever, I've always struggled with anxiety. The year basically leading up to coming to the bridge, the anxiety was basically very overwhelming and just taking over my life to the point of anxiety attacks multiple times a day, agoraphobia where I didn't want to leave the house. I've always struggled with anxiety. I was a wildland firefighter for 5 years, and my last fire season, when I came back, I just wasn't doing good, and that's kind of where it kind of started. Like last winter, it was where, like I was saying, like anxiety attacks to the point of I just couldn't function. Um, I didn't want to leave my house. I know, I was talking with Dr. Brooks about this, but I kind of thought I had medical issues where I was having problems with my heart racing. I went to the doctor and they said, you're all good, you're all healthy. And it really just all came down to anxiety. So, basically, before I came to the bridge, it was at the point where it was like there was no other option. It was like the bridge needs to work, or I don't know what I'm going to do. And coming to the bridge, yeah, I was nervous about it. Obviously it's something new. I didn't know much about it, but I knew something was needed to work. Probably one of my bigger concerns with the bridge was the cost and stuff like that. But knowing what I know now, I mean, it's basically priceless. I mean, the what I got out of it and what I'm continuing to get out of it, I mean, it was worth every single penny. And kind of coming to the bridge, I mean, it was a little hard to get there, but when I got there, I remember the first day. I mean, I was just like, man, this is my time. Like, I'm ready. Like, I am 100% in. I remember that first day, sitting at the, sitting at the first supper, and I'm just thinking, I'm like, man, something's got to work. And I remember looking outside, and there's some like foothills out there, and I'm like, I just want to run up and down there because I was so anxious and I couldn't sit still. And I remember, Dr. Brooks, you were kind of going over the program and stuff like that, and I was kind of explaining what was going on. And even within a few days, probably a first day, I mean, it was crazy on how you guys got me to relax and just settle down and just be a little at ease. And throughout that, that's when really all the healing came out. That's when I was able just to kind of start digging into really what was really bothering me. And, I'm thinking, just coming to the bridge, I'm like, oh, I mean, this is stemming from work, this is stemming from past relationships. And then when they really started digging deep, I'm like, well, no, this is something that's been going on my whole life. And,
Yeah.
um, with the bridge, I mean, it was probably one of the best experiences I've ever been a part of. I mean, just, meeting you, Dr. Brooks, and all the providers. I mean, I couldn't thank all you guys enough. And then just all the guests. I mean, and that doesn't just end there. I mean, I've been in contact with you. I've been in contact with providers. We have a group chat, and that's been extremely beneficial. Just being back home. I mean, it's just like when I'm having kind of a rough day. I mean, it's just I can kind of bounce off those people and ask for support, and it's been great. And yeah, I mean, I feel, with the bridge, one of my concerns with it too, and I just wanted like the success rate. I was like, well, what can I do to be the most successful? And I remember everybody said the same thing. You, the providers, the staff, and everything. They're just like, it's all going to be on your participation. And I'm like, okay. So it really was. You put in what you get out of it, and I kind of feel like I got every single thing I could have possibly got out of it. Um, and that was a good feeling. But yeah, like I said, another thing with the bridge is, some of the providers, the one thing I liked was it was different. It was something I've never really experienced, and it was very different, but it worked. And that's what I really liked about it. I mean, um, but like I said, just, I would say the hardest part about the bridge is leaving. I mean, it's hard to leave that bubble and leave all the people and say goodbye and go back into go back home. But um, just just knowing I have all that experience and have all those tools and just have all that support, it's been very beneficial. And yeah, I mean, I just couldn't be more thankful to be a part of the bridge last session.
Well, I love hearing all that. So if somebody's home and they have this kind of smoldering anxiety that you've had, really, like you said, for probably a lifetime, and you've tried things. I mean, I've tried plenty of things myself, and when things just don't work, I think also I can only speak for myself, right? I've only lived one life, but I think that's the scary part. When everything you try doesn't seem like it's doing anything. I think that's when I got nervous. And it seemed like that's kind of how, I don't want to put words in your mouth, Evan, but it seems like that's kind of what happened with you. It's like it's been a long time. It's not getting much better. I don't know really where to go. I'm starting to feel kind of weird. Like I'm starting to feel like maybe I'm a crazy person. And then, at least to me, that's when the light started to go out. I'm like, oh no, like, oh, man, this is super, super scary. Did you experience any of that before you came? Just that kind of
Yeah,
feeling you got pushed into some kind of an odd corner?
absolutely. Like I said, yes. I did try other things, before when I was doing fire, I'm just like, if I have anxiety or if I have anything, I'll work out. And that's when I was working out 4 times a day, eating healthy and trying every little possible thing, breathing exercises, anything. And it just, nothing seemed to really work, probably because I really just didn't really understand what was going on with me. But yeah, I mean, kind of leading up to all that, yeah, I was definitely kind of feeling that same way.
Yeah, interesting. And we humans, I mean, if you're honest as a human, we're all messy. Like that's just the way we are, right? Even the best of us. There's a lot of things to figure out. There's a lot of things to kind of work through in your mind. There's a lot of challenges. There's a lot of emotion, and it's all pretty tricky. And we all really just want peace of mind, and we want great love and a nice breakfast. And I mean, we're pretty simple, but my goodness, between the years, it gets awfully complicated. And I'll toot your horn a little bit. One thing I will say about you, Devin, is during the program, you were very quiet for the most part.
Hmm.
But when you would speak, it was something that was really well thought out. So I like hearing that recovery and that shift was deep. It wasn't something cheap and casual where you're like texting somebody and, oh yeah, I'm doing great. Like it was very profound. So that was really fun for me to watch you in that process. Your style was very quiet. It was very contemplative. But again, when you were working through, I mean, everybody knew, including me, you were really working through. So that's a testament to you and how long this is going to last. I mean, I think your improvements will last a lifetime. So any advice? So if somebody's considering, even if it wasn't the bridge, some program, or if they're in trouble psychologically or mentally, and they're sitting there like you were, like I was, and they're saying to themselves, I don't know, I've tried everything, I'm not really sure what to do. What encouragement would you give them while they're kind of fighting through that stuff?
I would, the words of encouragement I would give them is the bridge, that was the right call for me. I don't know if the bridge would be the perfect fit for somebody else. And definitely for a lot of people, but definitely kind of look into it because, like I said, um, you know, the bridge, like I said, I mean, another thing I can take out of that, on something you kind of touched base with, was not knowing what to do. But on the flip side, thinking, that I'm stuck and I can't, there's no way to get out of this. And I'm the only one that's feeling this. And I realized coming to the bridge, when I came to the bridge and people started talking, I realized that, wow, there's a lot of people like me and they're going through the same stuff and they understand me. And that was a huge takeaway is when I was at the bridge, I felt I could be completely who I was. I didn't have to hide, oh, I might have an anxiety attack or I might be just kind of, I can just be myself. And I think that was a big takeaway is, for being in an environment where you're kind of in this very comfortable bubble where you're getting the help and you kind of have this unconditional love that anybody would do anything for you. That's a huge takeaway. And that's really where I think the bridge really stands apart from the other programs is I guess I've never been the other programs, but on the flip side, the bridge, it has the aftercare. And once you meet like Dr. Brooks and all these other providers, it's not just 3 weeks and okay, good luck. It's forever. You have all that support. And I think that's a huge takeaway from the bridge is it's not just the transaction, it's people that truly have been in your situation and probably a little worse, but they understand it. And the reason they're so good at practicing it is they've been there and they know like nobody wants to feel like that. And they're so compassionate and they love everybody and they love the program and they trust it and it works. And yeah, I mean, like I said, another thing with the bridge, I just can't stop is, you know, it's, you know, it's, it's continuous, that was kind of the beginning. And I just kind of feel that, that's kind of what separates the bridge from probably another program is it's not just 3 weeks. It's pretty much, it's for a lifetime that you're going to get that help.
Well, we become dear friends. I think anytime you suffer with other people through something and you kind of work together and you bind together, you can't help but be dear friends forever. I mean, some of my dearest relationships are from the program. I learn as much from you guys as hopefully I teach. It's just as we all as humans as we try to figure out how do you do this? Like, how do you end up happy? How do you end up fulfilled and peaceful and content and just loving the heck out of life and loving the heck out of yourself and establishing a relationship with your higher power? Like, how do you go about that? Like, they're quite deep questions. It's quite the enigma, this life that we live. But when we kind of fight through those things together and we don't quit and we kind of battle together, man, you come out on the other side and you look around and you're like, man, nice job. People look at you too and like, hey, nice job. That's hard. You're like, yeah, that is hard, but then you all end up sharing this cool feeling too. Like, I feel solid. Like, I feel like things are going to be okay. So anyway, I loved your work. It was an absolute pleasure to watch. I cheer. That's it. Like, that's my primary responsibility out there while you guys do all of your own heavy lifting. But I just appreciate the heck out of you, Devin, being on today and telling everybody that there's hope and letting them know that even though it was a lifetime of anxiety and battling, even so much, to go to the hospital in the emergency room and have your heart checked. I mean, that's not uncommon to think there's something in my meat suit. There's something wrong with me. There's something wrong with my body. Like, is it my heart? Is it my lungs? Is it my brain? Is it my liver? Is it my chemistry? Like, what is it? What's wrong with me? And when you keep going into those, I call them white coats, even though I'm a doctor. You go into these physicians and say, "What's wrong with me?" And well, we tested this, and we tested this, and we looked at that, we drew your blood, and we did a CT, and we did a heart scan, and man, sorry, we just don't see anything. And I used to be like, how can you not see something? I am so miserable. What in the world, like, are you missing? Isn't it obvious? Like, there's got to be something seriously, obviously wrong. And the more times people look at you and say, I don't see it. I don't, sorry, like, have a nice day. You walk out to your car going, oh my gosh, like, I'm crazy. Like, I'm a crazy person. but to fight through that, I mean, and to work through those things and to end up just being a better self on the other side, man, hats off to you. Like I'm proud of your work. That's hard. And you're still hacking through it, you know, and good for you. Yeah, nothing but praise coming from us to you, man.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Any final words before I shut this off and let you go about your day?
No, I guess my final words was, if anybody has any questions, I would love to answer them. That would be a blessing. So if anybody wants to reach out, I'm here.
Awesome. Yeah, call the main number and ask for me. You can get right to me. And if you want to talk to Devin, I'll patch you through. Thanks, Devin, for that offer, because there will be somebody, I promise.
I'm looking forward to it.
Thanks, brother. Hey, thanks again for your time today, man.
Yeah, thank you so much, Dr. Brooks.
Yeah, talk to you soon.
Yep.
Bye.
Yep.